Today we'll be talking about insecurity, and I think it's an issue we've already addressed here, but today we might go a bit deeper into the issue. And so in the Global Terrorism Index 2023, Nigeria was ranked 8th position among the top 10 countries with the highest level of terrorism in the world. And then according to International Center for Investigative Reporting, it says that over 2,306 people have been killed, and that's between January 2024 to March 2024. We see Nigeria is grappling with continuous, rising incidences of kidnapping, banditry, and all of that. And the question on everyone's mind: why haven't we found a final solution to this insecurity in Nigeria up to this point? Why haven't we finally put an end to it? Probably we should start with Mr. Oshomole.
Yeah, thanks for having me once again. They defeats everyone's imagination. You saw that woman on the screen in that report saying she believed the governments and the government officials know what to do. So that is to tell you that it is not a rocket science to have a challenge solved. Especially this 21st century, you do not have idea of something. You are allowed to go do research or learn from others, then come back to apply same. So as we've always said on this program, Nigerians aren't stupid. We are not this bereft of ideas. But whatever it is happening that is making it so difficult for us to defeat insecurity and insurgency can, in my own opinion, be traced to citizens' disgruntledness.
Okay.
Yes. When you have citizens who are not happy, most citizens are not happy. They can't be patriotic. Even when they see anything that is going to hurt the overall interest of the country, they're not going to share that intelligence with the government. So, the first prerequisite to securing any entity, be it a country or a local government or a town or a village, is first of all having patriotic citizens, indigents. So when they see, they will say. But when you have citizens who some would even collaborate to subvert, you understand, then it's a problem.
Okay.
Let me go a bit ahead. When you have a country with close to 20 million children out of school, then you want to imagine what they do during the school hours. Then when you have so much unemployment, and the youth sitting idle, then you want to think, what will they do while some others are at work? Now, look at the statistical ratio of the homeless as well. At night, where do they sleep? Who knows? So why we sleep? Why you sleep? Where are they? Where do they put up? So when you put all this together, then you will agree with me that there are no accidents in what we are witnessing.
Okay. Okay. So, Mr. Ario, so part of what Mr. Oshomole said, the federal government might probably not be doing enough, if I get you properly. But I mean, we've seen instances of the president, meeting with security chiefs. We've seen meetings here and there, security advisor calling up these. I think we've also had northern governors, come together to discuss on still security issues. Meetings here and there, here and there, here and there. Still no end to it. So, Mr. Ario, do you agree with Mr. Oshomole that probably the government is still not doing enough?
Yes, I agree with Mr. Oshomole, 100%. And then to just add one or two things to what he has said, is that the problem is lack of reform. The federal government on their part in the structure of Nigerian police. You know, it is the police is answerable to the federal government. So, but there's lack of reform in the police. So, I have researched into it. I have discovered that there's corruption in the system affecting the police. I have discovered that the police is lacking standard living standard. No maintenance culture in their vehicle. No fuel. They don't. It is there. They are the one fueling their car when it comes to cases. They are the one fueling their car. They are the one repairing the car, or they do PR. They meet people who come or who comes for complain and all that. Government is not doing that for them. Okay, they are the one maintaining all the departments that you see inside the police. Now, there is DIG service reform report. The federal government they know how to get that reform. The report. They are not ready to implement, and they are not ready to reform the police, and they are not ready to tell themselves the truth that funding the police needs it. Sincerely, funding is part of the police. Maintenance of the police arm is very germane and key. But the federal government that is solely responsible for all those developments is, falling down gradually on its responsibility. So don't expect what is not being reformed, being sustained to best practice standard, that has something to do with the people, and the government and the whole world. And you expect them to give out best practice standard, of police development that we see all over the world. We don't expect that. So that is the more reason why I feel that having a state police, it is more closer to the state. We can be able to, look at the organogram, look at the scope, look at the force of how, they would bring up the police at state level, and funding system, and those that will form the board of the police. These are things, when we look at it, we will see that we will ensure, in the media, we will ensure that we have the best practice standard. Like the New York Police Department. Why is it working till today? Many decades ago, we have New York Police Department, we have Washington Police Department. All the states have their police department that is efficiently working. What is making it work? Why are we not going there to tap in their framework? In research, the word called framework. Okay? Framework is what you do. You pick from someone that is working in reality. So those countries of the world, Europe and the rest of them, they have state police departments, especially those that are operating the federal system, and they are sustainable till today. Okay. Many decades. So this is the reason why I feel state police will be more closer to the people, will be more focused with the state government, and then the local government itself that consists of the state, they can come in collaboration and see that security of life and property, is well nipped on the board.
Okay. Yes. Okay, so shortly before we go into the state police issue fully, let's look at the whole insecurity thing as a general body. And we had the former National Security Advisor of Nigeria, General Aliyu Gusau, and he said that Nigeria is a difficult country to secure, looking at the estimated population of over 223.8 million people, and a diverse terrain of, covering 923,768 square meters. So he's of the opinion that with the large population, Nigeria is not too easy to, secure. And this is coming from the former National Security Advisor. Okay, please, let's have it.
I disagree with the general.
Okay.
What we are lacking is obvious.
Which is?
Manpower. United Nations standard for policing and the policing individuals in the world is 400 to, I think, about 400 policemen to about 3 people. Okay, or 2 people, two individual citizens. We do have that. The whole capacity we have in the Nigerian police, about 350,000 capacity of Nigerian police that we have that are under government payroll. 350,000. That is policing about 200 people in population. So you can see the problem still lies with the federal government. Under normal circumstances and standard, okay, let us talk about the training aspect of the police. They have the department of training. How much do they budget in training? How many training have they been giving to police every year? Ask me. They have department of training, police training department. How many times have they been funding that department to train them? To meet up, there was a proposal I saw on ordinary disaster management, disaster, cordon, mitigation of disaster, how police can cordon, how police can mitigate, how police can have a proactive response, and coordination. There are 5 organs of disaster management techniques that the first presented to me. They took it there. Till today, the team did not see the light of the day. So, training is 1, corruption is 2, payment, the payment of their salary. If you hear their salary, you'll be dazed compared to others. Okay, and then you want a product, a sustained product to come out from that organization.
Okay, I want to understand something. Is it just the police that is having this welfare?
You are talking about security sector.
Yes.
That is
so
the focus of the discussion.
Yes.
So if we must get our police
we still have other
to work with us, the focus of our discussion here is security. If
yes.
we must get our police to do the needful, let me tell you, why is it that when police is killed, you will see police in diligent operation and they will investigate that matter. You will think this police is not from this world because it is involving them. But when it comes to, you will see the lackadaisical approach to all these things, and then
let's have
these are the issues.
Let me chip in something. You see, when we talk about security, as I said earlier, those police we are talking, it starts from policing, and policing can't survive without proper intelligence. So intelligence comes from the citizens, right? As we said earlier, these groups of citizens can provide intelligence to the police they do not trust. Now, even when we talk of recruitment, training, and all that, these people who we recruit into the police, they come from the citizens. The citizens that are hungry, they come into the police system with the mindset of like poverty mindset. And I can tell you that this has nothing to do with about being financially broke alone. Mentally. They are disgruntled. So you see someone just wanting to grab everything. Now let me give you something. In some countries, is police, border police, which you can call customs, immigration police, you understand? They are all under the same policing system. Now, police ought to be the first contact for every foreigner coming into every country or neighborhood. But when you are coming into this country by land or by air, what do you see at our airports? You see immigration, and you see what they do. Very shameful things sometimes they do. Now, you know how porous our borders can be between Adamawa and the Sokoto and Katsina. You know how many countries we border by land, and you know how porous it can be. So the custom officials at those borders, how patriotic are they? You had Premium Times did a diligent investigation. You had Fisayo Shiyombo of FIJ did diligent investigation on customs, and serious allegations in videos, but till date, no one has deemed it fit to investigate. Now, let's look at the culture coming into all this. We have different academies, police academies, military academies in schools and all that. What are their jobs? The essence of setting up those military schools are to orientate, instill at very tender age in these boys to be patriotic, to be selfless, so that they can even give their lives if need be, so that they will be so much trained from almost infancy to love this country. Now, when you have that mechanism in place, beautiful, and it's working. But the problem now is that how many of these boys end up serving in that same capacity.
Yeah.
Because you take someone at age of 11, 12, that, look, this is the reason and how this country should be secured. And by the time he or she finishes at secondary school level, you know, there's this, there ought to be a mechanism that ought to move them ahead again, further, to be in all these positions like, look, because you have trained them, you have conditioned their brains to understand the reason why they should be patriotic and selfless. Now, the system currently, in a way, do away with them. Now, those are the people you've spent resources and time to understand the system and the rudiments and to be selfless and why this country should be secured. Then you bring majority of those who are coming to only survive. You understand?
Yeah.
So I don't think you understand where we are going. You have made me from age 11, 12 till like age 18, 19 to have this mindset of being diligent, of being conscious, and of being selfless and patriotic. Then the bulk of me is done away with. So I can't help the system. So the system, the country, is at the mercy of those who are coming just to survive. So when they come to survive, they come with the mentality of poverty. Poverty not because they lack, because, see, it is not, see, there are people earning less. Now you have some immigration officials at the airports, you have some custom officials at the borders, they are swimming in billions. You do not need a billion to live well. So, but because they do not have that orientation, indoctrination, that ought to come, and the patriotism to come with their jobs, so they have left us at the mercy of insurgents. And let me add to you, by the time you train most of these boys, police academies, military schools, and you do away with them, you just left many of them with their expertise they have for insurgents to take advantage of and recruit to help their nefarious activities. So that is the danger of this. So you have a policeman who has 5 houses. You have a custom official who has 10 hotels, and he continues in that same unpatriotic act. It's not because he's poor. It is because he does not understand the rudiments and the reason why he should be patriotic to defend this country.
To add to what you have said, there are those that, even in employment, that are of standard, who has the capacity, but because of influence of one person or the other, now you bring in those who are not even interested in joining the force in the first place, who are at home. But say, you want to join? Okay, let them give you the slots. They give you the slots. But those that are having the will, I have seen somebody, many that they'll just call him, come and bring your name, let us slot you in so that you can join. So the boy is inside, just finished NYC, and then he wants to join maybe the academy, short service, or he wants to do the police, but because of the fact that he's not getting any job, he's unemployed, but the slot just came to one of their uncles, a big man, just give him the slot. So we have that problem that those who are willing, who are ready to be committed, to join the force, should be allowed to join the force. There's no need to do instrumentalism through corruption and then begin to select instead of get the real interested individual who are willing to join the force.
Okay, so now let's move the light a bit to the government. Still on the insecurity we're still talking about. So now the government, what I think we've already probably made mentions, but probably bring it out a bit more. What is the government not doing in respect to solving this reoccurring issue? I mean, we're already having over 2,000 plus people who died from just January to March of 2024, while the year is still, so you can imagine how many people will die because we've not even calculated how many we've lost at the years past. But like I said, we've seen we've seen government agencies, we've seen the federal government meet up with security agencies. You know, we've seen them equip this, equip that, get this, get that, all to resolve and bring to an end, or at least minimize, you know, the rates of killing, kidnapping here and there. But we are still where we are. Okay. So what can we, where are we getting it wrong? Like I said, I think we've already kind of placed it, but can we bring it out more? Now I'm talking generally, insecurity as a whole, generally, and the government. What are they not getting right? What should they do to get it right?
Okay. First of all, insurgency, there are different kinds of security issues.
Yes.
You know, even the level of theft.
It's still,
stealing,
yes.
Armed robbery, robbers,
yeah.
Those that, you know, goes on the road, and those that do kidnapping. Okay, those that do kidnapping, you know,
I think now we're talking about terrorists.
Okay, and I'm coming
and
there
then
now.
Probably kidnapping and banditry comes along.
Also talk about terrorists. You know, it was terrorists that breeds in kidnapping and the rest.
Yes.
First of all, Nigerian Armed Forces, this development is coming to them as new. We have not gotten any experience, you know, as to how to manage terrorism in Nigeria. In Libya, in 1981, Lockerbie bombing happened in the UK. Terrorism started, nations of the world started by understanding how to approach terrorism in 1951. So I think it was the US who started, you know, bringing their soldiers to learn counter-terrorism issues, how to approach attack terrorism. Jonathan's government was the first in this history of Nigeria that bring in some armed forces to go and train them in counter-terrorism in Israel. You can check it. But what I'm saying is that armed forces of Nigeria have just started getting to know, even though successful governments do not, they know terrorism has been going every part of the world. Lockerbie bombing in 1989 by some Libyan citizens. You know, they prosecuted that person about 2 years ago. Because they told the Libyan government, the British government told the Libyan government to bring that person back. Iran took the immigration and then went back to Libya. So they sanctioned Libya, if you check, for more than 4 or 3 days before they now, you know, brought those people back to the UK for investigation. So what we are saying in essence is that there is a need for training and retraining of the armed forces to understand the asymmetric kind of war that Nigeria is facing. Nigerian soldiers just know conventional war. They want to go to war, ground battle, air battling, and the rest of them, bombardment. But asymmetric war that has to do with insurgency. How do you differentiate insurgency with the normal people that are going on the streets? And that is why they see how they be killing the soldiers, you know, in their large numbers. They are talking about those involved. The soldiers who are dying in their large numbers. Go and check the statistics.
Of course they are.
The soldiers are dying in their large numbers.
Yeah.
That they will not know before, you know. Recently, the one that happened in Mina. Soldiers, about 45 soldiers died in Mina, headed by one Major Oni. Major Oni was killed in Mina. Major Oni led they had to call him, our soldiers had to call him to go back, that the people, those insurgents and those kidnappers, they are still there. Unknown to them, those people had set up a landmine and the rest of them. Before you know, they entered that landmine and they bombed them. So what are we saying? They need a training and training. Understanding asymmetric warfare that we are now encountering. And the problem has been that our political leaders did not see it, you know, as a priority in the past. Then it's now coming in present, and we are now facing it at our future.
Okay, let's have this
now I don't think you need eternity to learn something. You know, especially as I said, in the 21st century, you go online there, you exchange ideas online, and you pick some things, you exchange your personnel and they learn. But however, let's look at what breeds insurgency. You can't take away, as I earlier said, unpatriotic elements within. An outsider, either intra or inter, cannot succeed, even in a family, without prior knowledge of, a stranger, or of prior knowledge of a member of the family. So a stranger can't really, break in. So what I'm saying is this: you have governments, the system is a bit far away from the people. They don't seem to feel what the people feel. So a little bit of closeness, you knock down the structure and bring that. Okay, for instance, how many times do governors travel by road? Yes, that's number one. How many times do they, then how many times, how much time do senators spend in their constituencies? You understand? All this, even we have some local government chairmen, they only go back to the local government secretariat when allocation is about to be disbursed. So what we are saying is that the government is far away from the governed. So we need a system that also feels the pain of the people, like in Europe and the United States. You're on a train, on a tram, and you see immigration boss of the country on that tram.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know, except maybe you've encountered him or somewhere. That is the kind. Look at the police stations we are talking about. Even as a journalist, you go in there, they do as if not. See, for God's sake, the current IG was all the way to the current president. The current president is still an activist, an ardent believer of restructuring, state police, and all that. As a matter of fact, he rode on the back of all those ideologies to become the president. And that was why during the elections, it was all about renewed hope. That look, whatever you have experienced, you didn't like, we're going to put them in charge. But what did his chief security officer say at a global conference with former head of states, well covered by domestic and international media outfits? The IG disclaimed the ideas that brought his boss into the office by saying state police can't work. He practically disowned his boss. In a serious country, see, you can't contradict your boss. This is what brought your boss into the office. And the IG is still sitting in the office. I'm not insinuating anything. But what I'm saying is that you can't have conflicting ideas in the same government if an IG does not believe, in how security architecture of a country should be, then the president, he can't do anything about it.
Sorry, let me say something.
So let me
quickly say something. I'm sorry,
so that
I
we
know.
could go to break.
You see, I am the police force public relations platform, and I followed that which my analyst just said. But let me say quickly that the Inspector General of Police had come officially through the force public relations to say that he didn't say such a word.
What?
Yes, that he did not. That the word is his personal opinion.
No, you can't have a personal opinion when you are occupying an official office. No. Yeah, you can't say that. You can't say that.
And that the way the matter was said was not that it is enforcing anybody. He said it is his view.
His own opinion.
His view
your opinion is inconsequential when you occupy an official office. Now, what I'm saying here is that is why you hardly find any military or top hierarchy granting interviews. That is why you have a PRO having to speak, and that word become an official. The IG was not at a village meeting. He wasn't at a family meeting. The former president, at least 2 or 3 of them, were present at that conference. Yeah. It was beamed right all over the world. So,
and the meeting was specifically on that issue.
You came to mount a podium on a platform offered to you by 200 million citizens, entrusted to you through the president, whom you served as orderly, and you said that was a personal opinion, then that should have happened in your bedroom.
Okay. All right. So quickly, before we go on a break to have our second topic, still speaking on the insecurity, on the 20th of March, it was on the news I mean, the federal government said it has uncovered the identity of 15 entities, including 9 individuals and 6 BDC operators and firms allegedly involved in terrorism financing. And the details of the development were revealed by the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit. I mean, I think some years past, we've had the federal government come out to say, okay, we uncovered some people who are financiers of terrorism, but their names were never really published. I mean, this time around, we have names out to show that, okay, these are the people. I'm sure they're going to, there'll be a case and all of that, suits to file for that. But now, the federal government are now making steps to, probably in their own way of earning our trust, to say, okay, these people financed this thing, and these are their names. Are we pleased with that?
Yes, let me quickly say my own point.
Okay, all right.
Nigeria is a democratic country.
Okay.
It's a rule of law. You can't just bring somebody's name and say, okay, Shegun Ariyo is financing terrorism. No, I will not accept that. Okay. You have to go to court, contest it in court.
Is there a way they will go to court without people knowing them?
Hold on. Let those who are alleged to have been accused as terrorism financiers to prove themselves in court, and then let court come to say that yes, indeed, these people are really terrorism financiers, Nigerians. Like,
don't you think they must have done a certain level of investigation to have come to a conclusion that these people,
if you want to legitimately let it be, you can't just, you see, those people can even take federal government to court, you know, for
doing that,
for defamation on their, yes. Where would you come just you see, everybody, according to the 1999 constitution, is very clear that every human being, you know, is proven to be innocent until proven otherwise by any competent court of jurisdiction. So coming out to say yes, we can allege them that they for so far so good investigation, but to come and conclude to say I would not,
let's have Mr. Shomole.
We've had this to be dealt with for a while now. You know, former President Muhammadu Buhari promised to, divulge the names of terrorism financiers and all that, and we didn't get any, and people were asking where are the names.
Yes, exactly.
So, but it seems you cannot divorce people in the corridor of power from those who are really subverting the security of this country. So that is why it's very difficult. We have so many unpatriotic elements within the corridor of power in this country. Yes, the reason being that it is not hard, and I can tell you that if for instance, police is the first point of contact for any foreigner, the way that country looks like, the way it is going to be secured, you see it from the police. Even what they do. Now go around. They said they're going to merge the FRSC and VIO with and you want to ask, what's the difference?
There's a suggestion.
They all extort people, the citizens. Now, that alone, if you have a nitrogen bomb in a downfall in this country, for instance, with 100 naira, you will go through for free at every checkpoint. Is that alone is not just financing terrorism, it is also promoting terrorism. Enhancing terrorism. With 100 naira, you have 100 naira in 500 places, and you go through 500 checkpoints, you're going to go with lots of bombs and weapons on the land, I don't know, on the water. So what we are saying is this: let's have patriotic people in government. Let the government itself be that an embodiment of trust, that people can say, look, I have the information, I'm passing it over, without having to fear for your own personal security. But then, if for instance we want to deal with all this, what does it take? As I said, Fisayo Sheyombo of FIJ did a yeoman's job. He had all these cameras recorded and with the names, but nothing has been done. Now let's assume the IG wants to do a thorough job. Fix couple of vehicles with camera, body cam. Okay, no one will wear this body cam. Put them on vehicles. discuss with URTW, we want to put all these things on some trailers and the cars and buses.
Why wouldn't they
let them go around? Then you yourself, pretend, disguise as a non-entity, go to different police stations and police posts. This is how you gather organic intelligence. You don't need me to now. So if you sit back at the comfort of your offices and you think everything is fine, and you keep money on terrorism, as my colleague rightly said, came in, let's say, on a big scale around that kind of 1990, in 2003. So what we are seeing about 2003 is long enough to nip it in the bud. In Iceland, for instance, 99% of citizens have gone. But the crime rate is almost non-existent. What it means is that citizens aren't disgruntled. They have no reason to use those guns. So what we are saying is that it is not a rocket science. You want to deal with it, you can get it done.
Okay. Okay. So still coming back to now, let's go to the IJ speech or wherever on the state policing issue. And one of his concerns was on the fact that the whole state policing thing, it could cause, or there could be an abuse of power by the state government. And I'm sure we'll all agree. I mean, looking at the way... Okay, sorry. I mean, but looking at the way... we don't have state police yet. But looking at the influence that the state governments have on the police in their own region. So you can imagine if you now have each state, you know, has their own police. My
own is that once we want to create a state police, we must the strike that industrial union, judicial union, went on last time, calling for independent of all the judiciary at local government level, customary courts, at state government level, at federal government level, allowing independence of judiciary. That first must first have been achieved. Then once we achieve that, we can now follow it with state police. So where we have independent judiciary, where 24 hours cases are adjudicated, where every case is automated, where corruption is being tackled from that angle of internally revenue generation from the judiciary, where there is sustained check and balances from the House of Assembly to the state judiciary and to the state executive. So once we have all those three things in place, I can assure you, everybody, including the state police, will sit tight, because once you are caught you are facing the wrong side of the law, you'll be charged and you follow the case accordingly. So not that somebody will go and be influencing the judiciary because of the fact that they are at the mercy of the executive. So you can't achieve anything. But they know, the politicians know, they know. So, but because of the fact that they are running for some certain things and they still want to be relevant in power, they don't want them to be jailed like Jolly Yame and that of Joshua Darie. So they are running. So they know that once they do that one, it can hold them on their very sensitive part. So they are very skeptical. So, but if we still want to do a democracy, not a civil rule, that I have recommended was first of all.
Okay, let's have, but adding to what I've said, let's also look at it from the financial and logistics challenges as well. Because I mean, having a state police means each state will be taking care of their own. I mean, these are states that at some point, looking at minimum wage, some states are still battling to settle the minimum wage. Can they now settle the logistics of,
the fact that you are not paying does not mean you do not have the more resources.
Oh, okay, the resources is there.
So we must establish that.
Okay.
You want to be sympathetic, to the cause of those who are a bit kind of nervous about about the state police, because look at, for instance, each state of the federation. You have any state being controlled by party A, and local government election comes, that party clears everything. then the other party also in that state will cry foul that, oh, you cheated me. When it gets to the state, that same party, the opposition in party A, when it gets to the state where that party controls and local government election is about to be conducted, opposition party who was in government in one state, who is now opposition in the other state, will not also win a single local government. That isn't a democracy. So what we are saying is that people's confidence, then look at, for instance, on your state, last weekend's local government election, look at voters' apathy. Whereas democracy ought to be government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So by the time you have people not coming out to do anything, then it is no more. So now, talking about state police, juxtapose that, you know, to the fact where you now have state police being controlled by the governors. Then there could be anarchy. Now, you are talking also about the funding and the logistics.
Yeah.
In a case where you have a governor has minimum of about 10 cars going out, coming in, do you know what it takes to personnel? You know, then the fueling, maintenance, ESTA codes, for God's sake. Our president was in the Netherlands some days ago, and it was all over. He was going to see the prime minister. Aside his car, President Bola Tinubu only had to do with just a single car. You know, that is how you cut cost. That is why I said at the onset of this program that even if you are bereft of ideas, you can learn from people. Why do you need, as a governor, why do you need 20 cars? Why do you need 15 cars? Both personal and official, they are uncountable. So when you have all that, you can't really free up funds to govern and govern effectively. So, and the dividends, democracy will continue to elude as long as individual assume position of emperors. So that is just about it. We need a situation where people will be. See, you don't. Costa Rica, for God's sake, does not have a national army. You do not even need all these police or that. When people are okay, then citizens become the first layer of policing.
Okay. Okay, so while we wrap up and give our last words, I'm sorry, but I still want to take it back to the IGP, because, I mean, looking at the position, looking at the seat he occupies, I feel like he might just be the best person to be able to say, okay, if he feels we are not mature yet for state policing, probably he has his reasons. Then
he should have discussed with his boss. His boss was a NADECO staunch member who was on exile for many years. He came back, became a governor, and all through his 8 years advocated for state policing. You understand? So what we are saying is that as an IG, Inspector General of Police, you have a principal in the president. You didn't, you know, confer with him. You came, mounted a podium to disclaim publicly and globally, for that matter, that look, my boss idea is rubbish. That's what you say.
I want to disagree with my analysis.
Okay, please go ahead.
IGP has his opinion.
Okay.
There's no law that states that yes, you are the Inspector General of Police on contextual issue of national development like this. The Inspector General of Police should not have his opinion.
I'm sure he wasn't the only one that was against.
He has a right to his opinion.
Event.
You know, his view may not be palatable to others, even to me. To say that we should not have a state police.
The renewed hope must have been compromised.
Hold on, renewed hope. Hold on, let me define. The IGP Egbetokun is not a politician.
No,
he's a career police officer who is bound to be, is due to retire, I think about this year, ending of this year. Yes, I do crime reports for many years, so I know them in and out, maybe a lot of them. So, but the IGP, according to the law, he has right to his opinion. Yeah, I'm not speaking for the IGP, but I'm telling you, you know, outrightly that he has right to his opinion. Now, that opinion in context, I disagree. Okay. That he has his right, I agree. But that opinion, I would not agree. That I want a state police, yes, I want a state police. That we want independent of the judiciary, yes. That we want resource control, yes. That we want state development individually. You know, yes. So when we have all these things, everybody, including some governors, taking paying $760,000 upfront. You know, $760,000 upfront. All these things will not come on board. I wonder how a man who does not have a farming or any industry will be having, you know, a $760,000 to go and pay for his children's school fees.
Okay, Mr. that will be that will be a topic for another day. Thank you so much, gentlemen. It has really been an interesting conversation.